You're the only bitch at this house that I ever respected. She gives her a hug.
You're a pig.
I gave his mother a goat.
Do I give a damn? No, I don't.
He wants to marry me.
Welcome back, Strikerinos. Spring has officially sprung. There is green on the trees, at least if you live in New York City, which honestly fills me with dread because it means that summer's coming up, which is a season that I famously hate. However, it also means that things are blooming. And speaking of things that are blooming, I struck up a new friendship kind of in this episode with my guest, Jared Alexander, and I actually met him through TikTok. We went back and forth, we became friends on Instagram, and then naturally I wanted him to come on the podcast. Then, guess what happens? I'm out at a bar. Julius is the name of it. If you've ever been there in the West Village, oldest gay bar in New York, I run into none other than Jared in the flesh. So that was our first time meeting IRL, and then this is our first time meeting over a podcast. In this episode, we are talking about Flavor of Love, the show that famously launched Tiffany and New York Pollard's TV career, and there was so much to discuss. Jared has even more of an encyclopedic knowledge of Y2K era reality TV than I do, which I didn't think was possible, so this is not one to miss. I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the reality show. Today, I am joined by Jared Alexander. How are you, Jared? I'm
good. I am so excited to finally chat with you and also to talk about this amazing show. This is a dream, I think, first episode for me on your podcast. And congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited too. And then we were just talking before you got on here. So you're in Schenectady right now.
Yes, I am on the national tour of Anne Juliet, the Broadway musical. And when I'm not doing that, I'm also an entertainment journalist. So I cover reality TV at Parade Magazine, but I also do musical theater. So we wear many hats.
Is it like 8 shows a week?
Yeah, it's just like a Broadway schedule. It's 8 shows a week, and then on our days off are our travel days. So, yeah, we're pretty much in a new city every week. Sometimes we have like 2 or 3 week stops, but for the most part, in this leg of the tour, we're all over the country.
Is there ever like drama within the cast?
Luckily, well, of course, here and there, but honestly, it's not that bad. I don't know if it's because I'm 30, where I'm not. It's just not where my mind. Don't get me wrong, I love drama. But it's not like when I was doing shows at 22 or in college or in high school where that dictated everything for me.
Yeah, my friend sent me this thing this morning and it made me wonder if you knew any of the people because I feel like it's a small world. So he sent me this girl who I don't even know, but she, I guess, posted on her story and it said, I guess I'll just say what it is and then I can bleep out the names.
Yeah.
And the recording, but she posted on her story a picture of 2 people. There's arrows pointing to them and it says, Hey, tour cast, thought you should know that the reason that is back on tour is because he left his wife and 7-month-old son. It turns out he and your other castmate have been having a whole affair for months. Barf emoji. But don't worry. He said will, and I quote, be fine because she's such a MILF. And then there's a picture of them holding a baby. This was taken right before he and that girl decided to start messing around, or maybe during, because who knows when it comes to 2 liars who sneak around behind a wife/new mom's back. But it was def taken after that big baby shower y'all spent money on throwing him that was probably at. Anyway, just thought you should know about the integrity of 2 of the people you share the stage with. Give him a big welcome back to tour. I'm sure his girlfriend, yes, that's what he called her to his wife, sure will. And as for I hope you never have a good night's sleep for the rest of your lives because what you've done is truly disgusting. Middle finger emoji. And by the way, you look like cousins. That's some Sweet Home Alabama shit. So do you know any of those people?
First of all, the syntax, I just love how all of that was formed. I was riveted from start to finish. No, I do not know those people, but I am gagged by the story. It's theater people. Of course it's messy.
And this is just a girl who's friends with that girl, posting it on her public Instagram story. And of course I looked up her account and it's still up there. So she had no regrets.
Well, I do think that there is this dumoification of everything these days where everyone, anyone can be spotted with things, or I feel like there's this hot tip culture where you will post an Instagram story about someone, and because fame is so fickle, these you could become famous overnight in viral. What does fame even mean anymore? I feel stuff like that is just so common now. It's everyone's lives some sort of public life, which is kind of scary sometimes, I think, but also it does make for juicy moments like you reading out that story to me on the podcast.
I think it's really scary, and it's just like, I mean, I guess she's supporting her friend, but it's just like wild to me to like post that on your own story. Like, oh my God, girl.
Totally. Especially when like, there's so many factors involved in things like that. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
maybe
it's
the
like
baby was
complicated
annoying.
already. Right. Exactly. I mean, that's a huge factor. Babies can be very annoying. No, I think
Yeah.
that that's a lot to take on.
Okay, well, I guess we'll get into the meat of it because speaking of something that had a lot of drama, we're here to talk about
Hmm.
Flavor of Love season 1 today. And really, the only reason for
Hmm.
that is because I haven't seen season 2. I don't know if you have.
Oh, I definitely have. I mean, what's been so fun about even you like asking me to do this is that like I have watched compilation videos of Flavor of Love for as long as I can remember after actually watching the seasons when they were on VH1 when I was in middle school. Um, so I have seen season 2, of course, and I know all the beats of the moments, but an actual watch of the season, um, I haven't done since it was on. And then the same for season 1. So it was really fun to actually watch the episodes in order. Um, because yeah, it's true gold.
And did you watch it originally, like when it was airing when we were kids?
Yeah, I watched. It was like in middle school.
Because were you born in 95? I just gathered that from your email address.
Yes,
I was too. What's your
yes,
birthday?
I was born in '95. I am 30. June 4th is my birthday.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be 31 in like a month.
Oh my God. You're the oldest person I've ever had on the podcast.
Oh my God, wild! This is crazy.
No, I'm just kidding.
Let me
We're
go.
the same age, and I
Let me
think
go
that I
grab
have
my
had people.
cane.
I think I have had people who are older. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna run off some quick fast facts about the show, just for the sake of some context. And funny enough, I watched Daisy of Love when I was like in middle school, but I had never actually seen Flavor of Love. I just knew the memes and everything, and then I had watched I Love New York when I was in like college. But in terms of actually watching Flavor of Love, I was very late to it, and by late I mean like 20 years late, because Flavor of Love premiered on January 1st, 2006. And it started because Flavor Flav, the rapper, was with this girl named Bridget Nielsen on a show called The Surreal Life. And that launched like a million spin-offs. So they had their own spin-off that was called Strange Love. And then Flav got Flavor of Love, which was his spin-off where he brought a bunch of women on, Bachelor style essentially, to try and find love. That show ended up launching a million spin-offs. It had a season 2. New York, one of the cast members, ended up having her own show. There was Charm School, there was Rock of Love, there was I Love Money, and I Love Money is especially interesting because it was supposed to run for 4 seasons, and then in the 3rd season, they filmed the whole thing and then couldn't air it because the winner murdered his wife after the show. But then they had a season 4 and they still aired that one. So there's like a lot of lore, but we're talking specifically about Flavor of Love. Maybe we should explain, if you want to, where do all the names come from? Because there's, New York is the most famous cast member, and that's obviously not her birth name.
Oh yeah, well that's that's what I thought was so interesting. Just like the conceit of the whole show is that like it basically is like Flav can't be bothered remembering their names because he's really bad at remembering names, and instead he gives them all these nicknames, which I think then wound up following. I know a lot of the other shows like Rock of Love, Bret Michaels, he did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like it does add a layer, and then it gets really dramatic because whenever someone gets sent home, the Chiron shifts, and then it's like their real name, and it's like it's so intense.
I was just
it
thinking
definitely
about
makes
that.
you remember.
Yes, it totally is. And I was just thinking about that because I was watching it last night and I was like, wait, did I make that up? Or when a girl gets eliminated, do they switch the lower third back to her real name? And they do. So like someone will get eliminated and it'll say like Red Oyster, and then it shifts to like her real name, and it's like chills. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, and it definitely, I think, like it adds this like really fun layer to it where like it's not taken that seriously. And I keep thinking too in context of like what dating shows were like at the time. I think on the first episode he even says like he like makes some reference to The Bachelor. He's like, if you know that show, the Bachelor, like I'm the black bachelor essentially. And I think it's funny that like it how it positions itself is that it equal parts wants to take itself seriously as like they really are, like Flav is really trying to find love, but also like it knows that it's not that serious at the same time. And I think that's something that I underestimated. I'm like, are we only laughing now at it because it was so long ago? But a lot of the humor in the comedy like is very intentional in the edit and just how the show is constructed and how these women are set up to compete.
Yes, I think it's totally self-aware, and this made me wonder, and I was trying to see if I could find data on this, and I would have to dig much deeper to figure it out. But I was wondering, was it the first reality show where like we're kind of in on it and it is self-aware? And I think it was, I'll just say, I think it was one of the first reality shows to be kind of aware of itself. I also, when I was watching it, was starting to wonder, like after Flav eliminates someone, he like pours one out for her. And so he takes champagne and pours it onto the carpet. And I was like, did he invent doing that? Or was that already a thing?
No, I don't know. But like there were so many like the way the show is structured, and what is so brilliant about it too, I think, is that like there also is no host. Like Flav himself is the host and also like the lead of it. And I find that to be like really fascinating and also a really hard job. Like I think that like in the show is like really seamless in terms of like he determines the narrative of the entire thing. Whereas usually on a lot of dating shows, you know, there is the lead, but then there's the host who's like actually bringing everyone along and is communicating with the women. Instead, he is like producing just as much as he is the center of it. And it makes for funny moments like that, like when he pours the champagne out, or when he like, instead of like having roses, he like has like all the contestants, all the women have clocks with their faces on it. And he literally like, we see him deliberate and then we see him like go. And I think it's just like, yeah, I was like really taken with just like how it's a big job. Like I honestly don't think that like a lot of, let's say like D-list celebrities now could really successfully pull that off.
I think you're completely right, and I never thought about that. Yeah, he's the suitor, he's the host, and he's the narrator too. Like in all the recaps and stuff, it's him narrating it, which is kind of interesting because I feel like oftentimes through dating shows, it's more you're looking at it through the perspective of the suitors, not the suitress.
Yes.
And yeah, you're right. Like they did find really something special in him because one, his confessionals are crazy, and he pioneered his like own way of talking, like how he like randomly yells out "Flavor Flav" like at random times. And yeah, like can you imagine like if they tried to get Vanessa Lachey to do that? Like she can barely host a damn Love Is Blind reunion. It would be a mess.
No, exactly. And I think that's what's so cool and like raw about it, which is fun. And I'm excited eventually now. I would love to keep going and like eventually rewatch season 2 again and to see like what the popularity of the show is. The budget kind of different? Like, is the editing even like more polished? Because there is something to the charm of it that is like, there's not much going on in terms of location or like setup. Like, yes, each episode has a different theme and they're doing different things. Sometimes they travel, but like really it's not like, it's all just like in the house. Cameras are up and he's just kind of running the show and it's like up to him. Obviously this is produced. It wasn't just up to him, but I think it really does pull off this sense of he's like, you know what? Like, I want to see if these women can take care of me when I'm older. So we're going to a nursing home today. And like, that's just what it is. Instead of these like survivor-like challenges, I found the challenges also to be really interesting compared to like dating shows now or reality TV shows now.
Totally. I think also, oh my God, I can't imagine like whoever was like working behind the scenes at that time, like at the network or at the production company, they must have felt like they were like on cloud fucking 9 because the show, like season 1, it got the highest ratings of any show that VH1 had ever had. I bet you it was so cheap to make because you're right, most of it is just filmed in the house. At the end they like go to Palm Springs and then I think they go to Mexico even, but other than that they're just in the house. One of the challenges is literally the girls like making fried chicken for his mom. Like they don't even leave the place. It's like, so, you know what I mean, that's so easy to make. Right. And then, you know, it got so many viewers. Like, they were probably like, oh, this is amazing. And that's why they made 7,500 spinoffs of it.
No, exactly. And, like, I think it's so just, again, there aren't a lot of locations, like you said. And I think that I also wonder too, now I feel like there's more transparency in terms of like reality TV as a career and how much you can make and how much these big reality stars, be it housewives or other like really established people, like can really make and what their checks sort of look like. I really wonder what, if anything, these women made. And there's something kind of sad about that. But I also think shows like how far we've come, but also like how like there's such raw talent and I'm sure we're going to spend a whole portion on New York because like you just can't not. But I was so taken with so many of the other women who like, if this were a different time, they would be huge talent. Like the podcast deals galore, they would have spin-offs of their own, and there just wasn't like an ecosystem for that yet, which is kind of sad that I feel like a lot of these women just fell through the cracks. But like, wow.
I think you're totally right. Like I'll save my full commentary on her for later, but Goldie especially, like she would be today's like she would be doing a stand-up tour. She would have like such a funny podcast, but this was 2006, so we didn't have room. It's so sad.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm so happy, and I'm sure we'll have time. But like Goldie, like in my notes as I was watching, I was like, wow, like we just don't get. And I feel like I say this whether talking about Bravo shows or any reality shows that I cover or talk about. Like, it is really hard to find raw talent or like people who will just like let it all out and be authentic as they can. Obviously there's a camera in front of your face, like, and it is a job and a profession in itself, but like there's just something about Goldie that is so lovable and you're rooting for her, even though like it's pretty much set up from the beginning that like Flav really is endeared by her, but doesn't necessarily ever see her as like a true prospect.
She's clearly never going to win. Yeah.
Right. But you just root for her to be there because she's so, I mean, on the first night, she gets so drunk off the champagne that she throws up in a bucket and then shows up to the elimination. All the girls are trying to get her like ready. And like, she just is like, it's comic relief, but also like you're equal parts laughing at her and with her though. She genuinely is funny. Like her, like she has this observational sense of comedy where like she just is like observing the other women and her takes are really funny and like you kind of get it too, as well as also just laughing at the shit that comes out of her mouth.
Totally. She was so funny. And she also like was, I think, really brave, which sounds bad to say, but it was brave of her to be on this show when she like definitely, she like was, I think, probably like the heaviest and like the, not that she was even heavy at all, but like the girls were not shy of reminding her of that. They were like so mean about it. They were mean to New York towards the end and they kept saying that she had gained 20 pounds or whatever. But anyway, to be the one who's on the show, who's clearly kind of like the comedic relief, like, and to be like, well, whatever, like I'm still going to do it and everything, like is really brave. And yeah, in general, finding raw talent in like a reality star or even an influencer, I think is a very special skill. So that's why it's always confusing to me when I feel like the trope used to be people would say, oh, anyone can be a reality star. They're famous for being famous. And now the trope is, oh, influencers, you know, make money to sit from their couch. And yeah, obviously, like if you're working in the mines or something and then someone is doing a makeup video and making more money than you, I get that, like that's upsetting. But also I'm like, no, the hell anyone cannot do that because like you try turning on your camera, no one's going to tune in and watch. Like being an interesting person to watch, either filming yourself or filming on a show is a skill. It's crazy to me to pretend that that's not the case.
1000%. And I feel like we've had to zoom out a bit. I feel like there have been like modes of this and now it's just even more intense. Like, for example, like I'm sure for a long time it was like legit actor would look down on the soap star because the soap star was doing something that was like anybody can do that. But like, can anybody really actually command for 5 days out of the week, let's say, like this, like really fast paced and also like deliver that material? Or like if you became a daytime host or something, like you're not like a true talent where it's like, I don't know, for me, like Wendy Williams, like being able to just sit there on her sofa and like talk to an audience. Kelly Ripa, same, who's also a soap star, but like someone who like, that is real talent. Like a lot of people cannot do that. Now we're having the conversation all the time about red carpet hosts, how like all these red carpets suck because like, but for so long, if you were a red carpet host, no one took you seriously. But now people are like, wait, there's a real art to it. So like, same with these reality stars. Like what's so good about watching shows like this is how like truly all they had is a camera and the talent. And now when watching reality TV, we're always talking about like, you know, I feel like there's always like two conversations, what's happening and then like, well, like they like picked up to film or like, it's always like the behind the scenes we're talking about and not like what we're actually seeing. And on a show like this, it's like, it reminds me of early Bravo shows where like, half of the confessionals, you can tell who's going home because they're filming outside before they left. And you're like, okay, well, they weren't there anymore to film more confessionals. So like they're going home. Like almost every episode, it gives it away. And there's something so like charming about that. Cause like we as the audience didn't know that. Like I was on the edge of my seat, I'm sure, in middle school. Now watching it with my mind now, I'm like, oh, I know it's like Red Oyster's going home. I don't know why, but like her confessionals all of a sudden are outside of Flav's house. The whole episode.
I do miss that era. I miss the art of like the OTF, like an interview where you're just like standing outside, like on a sidewalk. Like there's the classic one of like Bethany Frankel and like the roller skates on Housewives of New York. And shows don't. I feel like I can't think of any shows that really do that anymore, except for like super, you know, like 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup, like low budget type shows. But I wonder if they'll come back almost, because I think now we're having a weird pivot where people crave like lo-fi because people are fatigued by stuff feeling like too hi-fi to the point where it's like almost giving AI. So I wonder if we'll like see the OTF come back in 2026.
Oh my God, wait, that's so smart and brilliant, honestly. Like I think of like one of my favorite Nene quotes is like one of those like side confessionals, and she's like, I just wanted pure innocent fun, and now it's just drama. And like it's just like it's a confessional style, but she's not like in a studio. And you're right, I feel like so many shows now are like circling, like either like picking cameras back up or like, you know, like these things where like we want to get like the raw footage or like the stuff. And I feel like that, as things feel more produced or more like far away from what made us fall in love with this stuff in the first place, it's nice to like go back to the like this feels like classic literature for like reality TV. Like it's like I'm like brushing up on like the bones of like an entire art form that we have now, an entire like true like dominant entertainment form that we have in culture.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I do think that it's like a canonical text, and I think people don't realize how much comes from it in terms of like the structure of shows now. And then also just like so many memes like come from Flavor of Love season 1, like Tiffany Pollard in New York, like sitting on the bed in her shoes with the sunglasses, like, staring at the wall, and her like smoking the cigarette, sitting on the balcony, and Pumpkin spitting on her. Like there's so many memes like that I feel like probably people use and they don't even know where the meme came from.
And it's so much in the lexicon. Like look at the material when it's her and Hoops in the same dress. Like it's like there's like so much stuff that like we just say that's like really embedded in the lexicon that like comes from New York. Like it goes without saying that like I feel like people talk about this ad nauseum a little bit about how like New York Tiffany Pollard is like one of the best to ever do it. She's the blueprint, but like you could never overstate it, because when you watch a show like this and you realize, oh no, like there's no filler really in these episodes. It's like every time she's on screen, I'm like, oh, there's another iconic moment. There's another hilarious soundbite, or like she's like really moving this show along in a way that is like, they must have like, I want to know what the producers thought, not only when casting her, but like at least when they were shooting the first few episodes, being like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, like we struck gold. Okay, I'll quickly tee it up so we could get into all of the cast members, especially in New York. So they start with how many contestants? Are there 20 women at the beginning?
I think they start with 20 because I think the first 2 episodes he gets rid of 5, both episodes.
Yeah, like so many are eliminated at the beginning. So Flav starts with 20. He gives them all their names. There's many different fun names. There's Hoops. There's Red Oyster, which is the craziest name. There's Pumpkin. There's a bunch of them. But the breakout star of the show definitely was New York, and her government name is Tiffany Pollard. And she was kind of the first. I don't know if she was the first, but she was definitely one of the first like famous reality TV villains. And what's kind of crazy about watching her that I was thinking about today is it's kind of impressive how she managed to literally not make any friends the entire time, because like she must have been so bored in that house, because no matter how much like content there is, there's a lot of downtime if you're filming a show like that. So typically like, you know, the contestants, and they, you know, they don't have phones, they don't have magazines, whatever. So all they have to do is like talk to each other. Tiffany did not make any friends, which is why it was so good. And it's like, even to the end, she like really stood by that. And I'm like, girl, like what were you doing at like 9 p.m. when like they weren't filming and Flav was like in the other room? You must have been so bored, but you like persisted nonetheless. It was amazing.
No, totally. And like the only person I think, I wouldn't even say a friend, but someone, which is one of the moments that made me like guffaw, I laugh so hard, is when Red Oyster self-eliminates herself because she gets this call that her dad got into this car accident, and she gives her this hug, and she's like, "You're the only bitch at this house that I ever respected." She gives her a hug. And it's just like, I think it's like, what's really amazing about watching New York is that like she truly does treat it as a competition. But I feel like in like my memory, I'm like, oh, she was a villain because like she was so mean to them and so cutting, and like she wasn't there for the right reasons is like always kind of the thing. But I didn't realize how transparent she was from the beginning of being like, I am not here to make friends. I am here for Flav. And that is it. And was transparent about like wanting to be an actress. Like she really did. I feel like because she put all her cards down on the table, it was a swing and a risk. Like in some shows, she maybe would have been eliminated first. But because she just like put all of her cards on the table, and I'm also sure producers were like, there's no way she can go home this early. But like she was so transparent about it in a way that like the moral game that the other women were playing, it's like everyone's on TV to be on TV. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like she was it was kind of brilliant for her to just like really treat it as a competition, not only in how she was self-producing, but also how she was presenting to the audience. Like it was a clear decision to be like, I am here for Flav. She's also clear about manipulating the other women. One thing she says that made me laugh so hard too, she's like, Pumpkin, I just keep crunching her. Like she's so easy to crunch. Like she's just playing with them. She's like taunting them and playing with them and manipulating them in like a Survivor way, in a now we know, in like a Housewives way almost. Like she's really good with messing with these women.
Yeah,
in an awesome way.
I think that's what makes her so lovable as an audience member, is that she, in every single interview she does, she like does not hesitate to be like, all these girls are ugly and I don't like them and I'm here for Flav and I don't care about any of them. And like, we'll just keep repeating that. Like, so she never at any point pretends that like there's anything else going on. So you're kind of like, okay, like you're locked in.
Yes, and she has her like trappings too. Like I love the moments where we see her like where she just can't, like when they go to the nursing home and like this woman wants her to put her dentures in her mouth and she just can't do it, and she like walks outside and like smokes a cigarette and she's like, I'm here for Flav. Like there are just some bridges I can't cross, and there's something so like relatable too about like how like when she like stumbles in the competition and why, and it's usually like in a way kind of endearing or kind of relatable. And how she just will like, she gets so visibly jealous whenever Flav has any alone time with anyone else.
Yeah.
In a way that like, I would argue that like anyone would. It's really dramatic, but like, I feel like with dating shows, especially back then, it's like, you get brownie points for like, you have to care enough, but not too much. And you have to want to be there for him, but not want to be there for his fame. And I feel like New York was like everything, everywhere, all at once with it. And it's like watching a painting. Honestly, it's awesome.
Yeah. I wonder what made her respect Red Oyster. I wonder if it was,
I know,
wasn't Red Oyster like the snitch, like who kept like going up to Flav being like, this one has a boyfriend and like this one is actually just here for your fame and everything. So I wonder if New York liked that about her, because she
totally
was as cutthroat as she was.
Yeah, like, and she was like playing her own game, you know? And I think what was cool about New York too, as much as she was a villain, there are so many moments throughout the season where it's like there's a different common enemy that unites the group, and New York is the one corralling everyone else. Like, especially when the Hottie stuff, which Hottie's a whole other thing, but like when the Hottie stuff starts to go down, she kind of really like galvanizes the other girls, and the girls are like on New York's side. And also with Smiley, I think too, when like she kind of like has her own things, and like because I think was she a model? I can't remember, but like there's always like a moment where the girls like kind of turn on another girl, and even though like New York like is the villain, there are so many moments where they kind of like take her side with things, which is like classic reality TV competition. But it's like really fun to also watch her navigate those spaces, because she just like, she sucks up so much air out of the room. You kind of have to just go along with her.
Totally. Well, that's what was interesting watching it back too is I forgot. So there's another cast member named Hottie, and
Oh,
she is like even more villainous than New York, I think, but in a way that's really like weird. Like I don't really even get what she there's like a kind of like a Ben Simone quality to her or something like where she just like does
totally.
this stuff that's so weird and it doesn't make any sense. Like when they have the challenge to make the fried chicken, she like microwaves it and she's clearly like making it into some sort of joke, but then she like it's just bizarre. And then they all turn on her because Flav is watching TV and then calls the other girls into the room and realizes that she was on another show, Blind Date, and that
Yeah.
of course is a red flag because it makes it seem like she's not there for the right reasons, even though it turns out Pumpkin was on that same show too.
Correct. Yes. And I think that like there was something Hottie too is someone again who like would have had like she's just as villainous as New York in a way, especially in the edit. And like again, I think would have maybe had a lengthy reality TV career just because she is so outlandish and like there's something about like she like presents as someone who's like obsessed with like the finer things in life and like but she's also really transparent about like being there for the money. Like she keeps making comments like she's like New York, you just need to leave so I can turn your room into my study. Like she's very much like I'm living here now and I'm fabulous and I went to an Ivy League school. Like there's like this elitism to her and in the archetype that I find like so fascinating. But she's at the same time also super ditzy. So it's
Yeah.
like this like weird, there's like this like conflict of type that I thought was like so fun. And yeah, that chicken challenge, like I remember it and like I know from like watching compilation videos, but like watching it is truly wild. And then also, of course, the classic scene where she says that all of her friends tell her she looks like Beyonce, and that's why all the girls in the house are jealous of
Yeah, and
her.
yeah, and that's where we get the classic moment of Tiffany saying, "I'm sorry, Beyonce, that an ugly bitch would even say such a thing," and then she says, "You look like
Yes.
Luther Vandross."
Yes. Which is like, again, like you can't like, obviously this is produced as reality TV, but you can't like produce that out of someone. Like someone either has it or they don't. And like New York is so good at moments. I will say the way it's edited, it is really, in my mind, it's fun to imagine like, because it's always like the girls wake up, there's some message from Flav, there's usually some sort of like task or event or challenge. And then there's like this weird downtime in between. And it always feels like we're just landing into something that already started. Like we just are like this, the scene where New York is like eating her steak and her and Hottie are getting into it. And she's like flailing her knife around and it's that whole thing. It's like we just like land right there. And I do
Uh,
wonder like, is it like, there's probably so much on the cutting room floor of stuff that didn't make it. And this was just like the best thing. But it is fun that like, there's never a moment where it's like, so we have time before the elimination, so I'm gonna go and like make myself some food. Like we just are there, the food's there, and it just starts. And there's something kind of fun about that because now I feel like in reality TV, there's always over explaining. Like it's like, well, I have Jackson's birthday party tonight, so I'm going to be getting ready. Then I have to call all my friends about Jackson's birthday party. What am I going to wear to Jackson's birthday party? And I'm so nervous because this person's going to be at, you know what I mean? Like, and it was nice
yes.
that even though it's so much older, there's like a lot less hand holding. It's just like, here's what it is. This is what we're watching.
There is a lot less, and I wonder why that has like increased so much because on the one hand, I would have thought maybe you would need more context all throughout the show back then because it's like if people are watching it live, they want you to be able to come in after a commercial break and feel like you can still watch the last 20 minutes of it if you don't have the context. Whereas now, like you're pushing play from the beginning.
Right.
But and yeah, now we have way more like overly contextualized shows, and I guess it's just because like I don't know, are all like brain dead, and so like they just want to design it so that it's like shoved in our faces. Like maybe that's all it is.
Not no, you know?
There definitely is. I'm tons that goes on the cutting room floor. I'll never forget when back during my TV days, I was interviewing with Sally Ann Salsano, who was like the showrunner for Jersey Shore and all those shows. And I
Wow.
remember I didn't get the job. It was to be her assistant, but I remember she was talking about, she's like, on my shows, we shoot 500 to 1. That means that for every 1 hour of footage that you see on TV, there's 500 hours of raw footage. The Bachelor does 200. Looking back, I'm
That
like, was that even true? Because 200 is one thing, but 500 hours? Like, how is that mathematically
no.
possible?
Exactly. Like how much it doesn't even make any sense. But also with like that's the thing with these like with those surveillance shows, like at like Jersey Shore, you know, there are like cameras on all the time in the house, and same with Flavor of Love, which is like, I think what makes it, like, I don't think I had like a brief situationship with the Bachelor franchise. Like I was Bachelor Nation in the 2010s for like 3 or 4 years. Yeah, it was like Caitlin Bristow's season, Nick Viall, like that era, Rachel Lindsay, and then I kind of fell off. And then I was like, it's time. Mm-hmm. But it never, even though like they are filming in a house, it doesn't feel like they're filming all the time though, in a way that like Flavor of Love does. Like it does feel like, oh, like they're waking up, like they have their bonnets on, like they literally are like, they're working 24/7. Whereas like now I feel like it's, I mean, I only know from clips, but it just doesn't feel the same way. But also, listen, in a lot of ways, I'm sure there are some protections for people and reality TV people that exist now that did not exist then. And things that definitely used to fly now, or used to fly then that don't fly now.
Totally, like having a contestant that murders his wife.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, on The Bachelor, they don't, like, they're not filming in like their bedrooms, like the girls, right? Like it's,
I don't know.
I think they
I
go
don't
off to a
think
hotel.
so. Yeah, and that's what I was wondering too, though. I was like, is this like Trader style? Like, are they actually living in this house or are they staying at a hotel? And I honestly couldn't tell. And that's a testament to the show. Because it does look like, I'm like, it does kind of look like they're sleeping in those beds. But also, maybe not. Maybe they weren't the whole time.
I feel like they really were, because I think that there were no considerations for like ethics, and certainly not for like their comfort. And so I think that they would have just done it as cheaply as possible. And so like if there was room for beds in that house, I think that that's where the girls were sleeping. I don't think they were putting them up like in the Hilton. So I think that it really was real, which I do think adds to it. Like let's get the girls back in that real house. It's better.
Yes, I agree. It's
Were there any other cast members besides New York and Hottie that stuck out to you?
New York, Hottie, Goldie we talked about for sure. Mm-hmm. There is something about Hoops that like you kind of get the sense halfway through. It's like, oh, she's gonna win. Like there's something about her again that like she wants it, but she doesn't want it too much. She's in the drama, but not that much. Flav is really taken with her. She's also just like stunning, like fun to watch. And feels like the moral center of the show. Like she can tell what's right from wrong, like, and all those things. And yeah, I feel like she also is like a good breakout. I mean, someone who was only there the first episode, I don't know why, but I just kept thinking about her, was Picasso. Do you remember her? Because she did that painting. Yes. And she was like she was really weird in a way that I'm like, we would never get this now. Like she just was a weirdo. Yes. So, I would say my like MVPs are obviously New York, Goldie, Hottie, and Red Oyster. Like there was something about Red Oyster, and I was really shocked about like the way they did her elimination. I don't know why I'm laughing, but she just like cuts. It's so awkward. Like he has 2 clocks left, and she just stops and she's like, "Flav, I have to tell you something. My father was just in a horrible car crash, and I am eliminating myself from the competition." That's that.
No, like, I think we're laughing because it was like so jarring. Yeah, that was really crazy. Do we remember where did she get where did he like name her Red Oyster from? Like what does that come from? Is that so crazy?
I don't remember. And also I think it goes without saying, like half of these nicknames too are like it all is very like heavy archetyped, and like it's like some of them you're like, oh my God, but it was 2006 and you kind of just have to roll with it. But totally. I don't remember. But yeah, that scene is like, that was like, all the eliminations have like dramatic moments in some. Obviously, the one, and I'm sure we'll get to it, is like Pumpkin in New York. But like the Red Oyster one, I was like, oh my God, I was really like not expecting it to go that way.
Yeah. Okay. You know which girl annoyed me was the one. I wish I could remember her name right now. She was really pretty, and it turned out that she still had she was still in love with the boyfriend or the husband. What was her name?
Yes.
And it came out because, remember, Bridget Nielsen, who is Flav's like love interest from their previous show, she came on to like check on the girls and then hooked them all up to lie detectors.
Yeah.
Guys, it's Future Jackson jumping in here to let you know that the girl I was trying to think of in this moment was Smiley.
Yeah, because she's like calling her boyfriend, and then like she says to someone like, if I had to pick between Flav and him, I would pick him.
Yeah, she was just pissing me off. Like she was just crying
Yeah.
all the time and then like talking about this boyfriend. And then like she got like hooked up to the lie detector test and she was like, well, I can't answer that question. I was like, if I were one of the other girls, I'd be like, get her the fuck out of here. Like she's pissing me off.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't
And
play in
Flav
our
would really sometimes
faces.
let him have it in these eliminations. Like he would like literally say like you betrayed me or like this is without ever really ratting out obviously Red Oyster or some of the other women who would tell them. Like he was really good at like being like this came to me and
Yeah.
you're in my house and I can't believe you would do this in my house and betray me. I would never do this to you.
So good.
Yeah.
Are there any moments in particular that stand out to you? There's obviously the Pumpkin New York fight.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that was like, and that's something I've watched. Like, I can pretty much quote. Like, I've watched that on YouTube. Like in college, we would just throw that up on YouTube because it's just so good.
Mhm.
And a lot of things jump out to me. One, just the lack of security. Now, the second a fight breaks out in reality TV, there's like, you know, like 20 security guards like holding people back. And really, there was nothing stopping New York from like dragging her by the hair.
Totally.
And as much as New York is an instigator, the spit was like obviously just like not called. It just like comes out of nowhere a little bit. It is just like, whoa. Um, but it is just the way New York, I just like, I love not only a good reality TV villain, but someone who's just like really good with her words. And I was thinking a lot how like New York to me feels like a mother of like a Kenya Moore or like a Candace Dillard Bassett, like a housewife who's just like really cutting with their
Yeah.
words. Um, and she's really good at that. Like she, from the second she's eliminated, is taunting the shit out of her. Um, but then she kind of gets the upper hand because again, like she manipulates Pumpkin into making her look dumb, and then
Yeah.
she does wind up losing. And it's even in the reunion moment where it's like the moment of the reunion is New York walking out, and all the women just like, I'm like, wow, like the show is called Flavor of Love, but like New York is the star. Like
Yeah.
she's like making moves.
Yeah, that moment is crazy. And for context, if anyone hasn't seen it, although it's like if you haven't seen it, probably you're not listening to this episode this far. But basically, like when Pumpkin gets, it was Pumpkin's elimination when it happens, right?
Yeah.
New York says like Pumpkin says like I want to like hit you in the face to New York, and she goes hit me, and then Pumpkin Pumpkin doesn't punch her, Pumpkin spits in New York's face, and then New York goes and like just tries to beat her, and then
Yeah.
they
And
are
literally
interrupted.
chases her down the hall. And then eventually they're broken up. And then Flav is like, now you gotta leave. And it's just like, and it's kind of like, you just spit in my face. Like, are you kidding? Like, and it does. And then you're like, yeah, New York, like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
And Pumpkin and her, it's like brewing. I feel like the whole season.
The whole season.
But yeah, how it like goes, like the whole season, New York is making, like she says, I think 4 or 5 times she's like, when you finally get that facelift and your crow's feet, and you're like, she really is like going at her, which obviously isn't nice. But I don't watch reality TV for people to be nice.
No,
You
not at
know?
all. There's also an
Yeah.
amazing moment. So at the reunion, obviously, like they want to bring up the Tiffany and Pumpkin drama, and at the reunion, the reunion is full on like Jerry Springer style. Like they have like security on stage and everything because there's so much like physical stuff happening. And
Yeah.
it's hosted by Lala Anthony, who
Of
is like a famous
course.
VJ on TRL, and they like lie. They like Lala goes like, okay, Pumpkin in New York, we're each gonna give you 30 seconds to like say your piece. They're literally standing in front of these like fences, and so Pumpkin like starts to do her like 30-second thing. Tiffany immediately knocks over the fence and just goes right at her. And then
Right.
Lala's like, okay, well, obviously we can't continue that. And then like New York just doesn't even do hers.
Yes, and what I love too, again, as we were talking earlier about how Flav is equal parts, he's like the host and also he's the suitor, like he's everything, and also he's producing. He is so, from beginning to end, and especially in that reunion, he is so charmed by New York and so tickled by her, and it
Yeah.
makes sense for the show because she did make it clear she was there for him from the beginning and wasn't there to make friends. And also, she's just like, you could see how he recognizes how she's good TV. Like, he's just like there, like giggling because it's like Yeah, and also shout out, I will say, and she obviously becomes an even bigger character because New York wound up having like, I love New York. New York goes to Hollywood. New York goes to work. Like she was like the face of VH1.
Yeah, she had so
Like
many spinoffs.
her mother also is great talent.
So
Like
good.
the episode where her mother comes to meet Flav, and like, and her mom becomes like an even bigger character as the shows go on. But like, also is like, oh my god, it's like it all makes sense too when you meet her mom.
Wait, do you remember too in that episode where they bring in the moms? Hoops' mom comes and she's like super young and hot, and then starts like flirting with Flav, and then Hoops talks about how she's scared that like she's gonna go after Flav because she's done it with one of her boyfriends in the past.
Yes.
Reality shows used to love to like kind of toy with like incest in this way that is like so like I mean, not that that really was because they weren't implying that like she was gonna fuck her mom, but
Right.
there is just like, you know, like these like weird dynamics and stuff that I feel like people don't really touch now. Like they loved to do that on shows, or even like remember like two of like Hugh Hefner's girlfriends, like they weren't even on the reality show because it was before that, but they were twins, remember?
Yes. Wait, what was Hugh Hefner's show called again?
The Girls Next Door.
Oh my god, yes. We used to be a proper country. I forgot about that show. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Any other moments that come to mind? Yeah, like the reunion. Well, at the reunion, they reveal Flav and Hoops reveal. It's kind of anticlimactic. Like in the last 3 minutes of it, they just reveal that like they stayed together for a couple months and then realized that they were just better off as friends. Like nothing even interesting really happened.
Right, and I do wonder, like, obviously, like, it is interesting that like we had these reality shows where like now I feel like there's so much about like if you win The Bachelor and you get married and like you like how long are they gonna last, and it's all about cycling through. In this, I feel like it's like it was like, oh no, like when's the next season of Flavor of Love coming? Like it's almost like you just like even if someone wins, it like it doesn't matter. Like I want to see like who's next.
Totally.
And I kind of like that. I feel like that's more honest.
Yeah, I think it totally is because relationships like they ebb and flow. And Flav was a young guy; he was only 46. So why did he have to settle down right then and there? He still had many seasons left in him.
Of course. No, you are so funny. That is like definitely a fun part of it too. And I'm sure you want to end the reunion knowing that like, okay, well, they're not together anymore. And then when Flavor of Love season 2 comes, you want to know. And then like, spoiler alert, like New York is back for season 2. But of course, like in what producer in their right mind wouldn't bring her back to terrorize 20 new women? Like,
and it's crazy too because I mean, sorry if this is a spoiler for anyone listening who hasn't watched season 2, but I forgot that in season 2, which again I have not fully seen, I've just seen clips of it. New York makes it all the way to the final round, and so that the like viral clip of her when she's like in the limo
dress.
crying, that's from in the blue dress. That's season 2. I always thought that was season 1.
Yeah, no, and when she's like walking away and she's like, you brought me back to do the same shit, Flav. Like, and it is kind of, I remember watching that, and it is kind of devastating because it is kind of like, damn, like she made it all the way again to this. Mind you, there were much more exciting things in store for New York. Like she was gonna get her own show.
Yeah.
But it was like, God, it's such good. There's like the narrative arc too with her is like it's almost like there's a tragedy element to her that I think is
there totally is because there's some, I will say there's something about her that's not that doesn't, okay, I guess this is gonna sound bad, but there's something about her that doesn't feel sexually viable to me on the show. And not because she's not beautiful, but she just doesn't feel like she has sexual energy.
Yeah, no, totally. And not in the way that the other women are, like, like in the hot tub with him or like are really like, I mean, there's so much just sex infused with the show that shows just don't do now, which I also find interesting. Like it's very transparent about like him having sex with them and like them being intimate in a way that like if someone ever does that on The Bachelor before one of the rows or one of the what's it called when they like have like a private moment, whatever, like it's always like a big no. Like it's always like, oh my God, like there's this purity to it.
Yes.
In a way that like is just like out the way. I mean, he literally is like feeling them up as he's nicknaming them.
Well, And what's interesting too, though, is that like because New York wants she doesn't feel sexual, but she wants to use sex as a means to
Yeah.
like taunt the other girls, of course. And I remember there's like a moment at the end where she implies to Hoops that she and Flav did have sex, and she literally says, "We didn't have sex. We made love. We made beautiful music." And it made me wonder, like, do we think that they really did have sex? I kind of don't think that they did.
I don't think so either. I mean, if I wouldn't be shocked either way. Does that make sense? But also,
Yes.
like, I think it is. I wouldn't put it past her to use that to get under her skin. And I did love that quote about how they made beautiful music.
Honey, when I'm fucking, it's all horns. There's nothing beautiful about it.
I'm screaming.
Wait, okay. I'm also now remembering something that I meant to look up before this episode and I never did. Is that did Tiffany Pollard come out as non-binary recently?
I know she definitely identifies as queer. Like, that's been a thing for a while. But then I know on Z-Way, there was like a pronoun conversation that they had, but I didn't watch the whole interview.
Okay, I'm seeing granted this is like the Google like AI summary
Right.
that pops up, but what it's saying is Tiffany New York Pollard has publicly identified as non-binary, embracing a fluid gender identity that shifts between masculine and feminine energies, known as the HBIC (parentheses head bitch in charge). She stated she resonates with the non-binary community, frequently uses all pronouns, and has described herself as flexible in her gender expression. Okay, so it's I was like, oh my god, are we been misgendering her this whole time? But her pronouns are HBIC, so it's fine.
And has also, I know, like, as of the last like 5, 6, 7 years, like, has gone on record and just talked about how like the queer community, like, she wouldn't be where she is now, just like how she is just so embraced. I mean, literally, as we were talking, like, there are so many moments, either like in gay group chats across the globe, sending New York memes, or also just like like the things that we say. And it is nice now. I mean, out of all of them, obviously, like, she's on House of Villains all the time. Like, that show is basically just a show for her. Like, she's, I think, been on every season.
I've
Like,
never seen it. Have you?
I watched the first season, which was pretty good. I do feel like there is something about it that's just like, it doesn't necessarily work if everyone is a villain. Does that make sense? Or if you have like,
Yes.
like the more is more approach, it doesn't necessarily work. But it's nice to see like talent like her like kind of get their due, and like that like she's like making money for sure. Like, there's no way Tiffany Pollard can't, like, she's doing a reality show. She's got a rate, I'm sure, and can negotiate a good amount, whether she wins, the cash prize at the end or not.
Yes.
Yeah. I got to meet her at the House of Villains premiere party. This was like 2.5 years ago for the first season. Like,
oh my god.
I don't know if I think it's on E. So like E, like, through this party.
Oh yeah.
And she was so, I'll have to send you after. It was like, I have this really cute picture. I was so excited, so nervous. And she was so like most, I shouldn't say like most. I think a lot of reality TV stars are as advertised. She was, though, like, very, it was like an overwhelming night, I'm sure, but she just was like very like, hi, oh my god, just like very sweet, very like, not that you're expecting this like crazy key or like her to say something outlandish, but it's also like she just was like super normal. And I did get to tell her that my favorite New York quote is actually from New York Goes to Hollywood, when she's at this casting call. I'm sure you probably see the clip, but she's at this audition and this actress tells her to break a leg, and she like freaks out, and she's like, break a leg? I'm gonna get the part. That's what I'm gonna do. And then she's talking to her agent later, and she's like, this girl told me that she's gonna break my legs. And then he's like, that means good luck. And she's like so shocked.
That's
so amazing. I did get to tell her that that's my favorite moment. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, like, as we're like, I think sometimes starved for like reality stars that obviously, like, like, it is no one's going on TV just to, like, I don't know. It is a career in and of itself, but like, that authenticity is really hard to find. And like, not like she has it, but also I was really, in this rewatch, so blown away by how like pretty much all the women had it in some way, shape, or form. Which was fun.
Yeah, it really was kind of a different time for reality stars. And I never watched New York Goes to Hollywood, but I did watch New York Goes to Work, where she like does a different job every episode. So one episode she has to like tame the lions at the zoo, and there's one where they have her like clean out the ghosts in the bottom of the it's that boat in Long Beach. It's like the Proud Mary or something.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like haunted.
That is so funny. No, like they really like had her in these wild situations after already again having 2 seasons of, and I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch if she like dated the guys for. I think the guy who won season 2 she was with for a while. I think his name was Taylor Made. I think she was with him for a bit, but like, yeah, New York was around for a bit. But now that like nostalgia is king, I feel like now all these old reality stars and reality things are coming back. But there was like a period there, probably like mid to late 2010s, where like, you know, unless you were like watching old YouTube clips, it's not like they were doing anything. Those shows kind of were really out.
No, totally. I do feel like probably a lot of them are having like a second wind right now because I bet you from like 2010 to 2018, maybe even longer, the phone was not ringing.
And it makes you think too, like, because you said this was 2006. I think had this come out, I mean, it came out when it came out, and that's what makes it beautiful. But like thinking about how the Jersey Shore cast has been able to like really like cement and have like careers like they've had, and like and the cast didn't turn over in that way. And I think that came out in like 2009. That just goes to show like how in just those like 3 or 4 years, how much the appetite changed and how like reality celebrity changed, because like they were, I think, really big in a way that like went outside of the show, in a way that like it felt like the network needed them, in a way that outside of New York, even though there was such great talent and Flavor of Love, you didn't need them.
No, totally. Yeah, I think, yeah, it was like the wrong time for a lot of them. And it made me wonder too, maybe I'll leave us with this. I was like reading this like New York Times article from August 6th, 2006, and it's talking about, I think it's actually referring partially maybe to season 2 of Flavor of Love, which I guess would have already been premiering in August. That seems crazy. But anyway, she says, the writer says, all of them behave like dance extras in a rap music video, writhing seductively for and bad-mouthing the competition. When 3 women start boasting about their qualifications, one of them wins the argument by stating, for the record, I have no gag reflex. It's all supposed to be in good fun, except that too many of the contestants have the empty eyes and flat affect of abuse victims. Flavor of Love is a wee documentary tricked up for laughs that ring hollow.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, like what a crazy thing to say. I'm like, you don't, like, maybe some of them are, but I'm like, you don't know that. Like, what an insane thing to like write in the New York Times. Like, you can clearly all tell they're abuse victims.
Right. That is so wild. But that also was like the tenor of the conversation back then was so like trash TV, guilty pleasure, like this is a fad, like this isn't real entertainment. And it's wild that like that isn't really, like no one says like, oh my God, like my guilty pleasure is Real Housewives. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that kind of thing is just like it's not like dominant in the same way as it was.
No, it's not at all. I feel like that phrase isn't even part of the lexicon anymore. Like I actually wonder, like if you were to survey like Gen Z, like if they even use that phrase, because you really don't. I don't think that you ever hear people who are like younger say, "Oh, Love Island is my guilty pleasure." They just say, "Oh, I love Love Island." It's just a pleasure.
Yeah, and it is.
Oh my God. Well, do you have anything coming up in your life that you want to plug while you're here?
Oh, thank you. I mean, really, it's just the show right now. I'm going to be on the road through the summer, though I'm going to have some fun breaks, which is exciting. And I'm still doing interviews over at Parade. So instead of like housewife interviews and stuff, I just interviewed Shamia from Housewives of Atlanta, which I think is actually having a pretty decent season right now.
Fun.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of fun that I can still kind of chug that along. Yeah, and I'm posting a lot on TikTok, which is where we kind of met. But now we're IRL friends, which is even sweeter. But yeah, over there too will be more of my thoughts on a lot of usually Bravo stuff, but even outside of that as well.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, wait, I never even said that, but yeah, how we met was through TikTok, and then we had never met in person, and how I randomly ran into you a few weeks ago at Julius, and then the rest is history. How fun.
It is one of the best places in the world, Julius. It's always a serendipitous moment there. And I was so happy that we finally got to meet.
Yes. Oh my God, me too. Well, break a leg. And I mean that in a nice way.
I'm going to get the part, as New York says.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you get every part, Jared, and thank you for coming on.